All right, man. Good day, people. Welcome to a re-recorded edition of this podcast. Welcome to the Life and Business Podcast on Horizon TV. My name is Mason Denos and today on the show, I've got the entrepreneur extraordinaire, the digital marketer extraordinaire, and the one whose ideas of business and masculinity sometimes. I'm looking for the right. I like saying that I'm looking for the right word to use, but whose idea of masculinity, I don't want to say is modern, but encapsulates what the world should be like right now. I've got Yusuf Ahmed. Yusuf, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you so much
It's
for
good to
having
have you again. Thank you for doing this for the second time.
me.
The last time we had this podcast, we had a very interesting conversation. And funnily enough, I think I want to add layers to what we had the last time, in addition to what we had before. So I'd like to start this conversation with how does one define Yusuf Ahmed? If I am a person outside of you, if I don't know you before, how do you define you?
I think for the longest time, I've always called myself a human being. I feel like that's like a um, that's a what should I put it? A very direct and a very, interesting. Uh, yeah, I think I'm a human being. Like, that's it.
You're a human being.
Yeah, I'm a human. That's, I think that's first before a lot of other things. Like, I know I do digital marketing. I know I do web design. I teach digital marketing and all. But you have to be human first for you to be able to like have a very proper and fine, a very good foundation for you to actually learn. So my Twitter bio used to be human, African, digital marketer, then a lot of other things, but I decided to change. But so that it has always been like that.
So to be human, I'm going to take a little detour. When you say to be human, what does it mean? A lot of times these days I see and I hear conversations around the need for people to have the freedom to do whatever they want to do. I see conversations about, I'm sure you've heard this, you've come across it, about people who can change their genders whenever they want to. There's a lot of liberalism
Yeah.
in what people define as being human. For you as a human being,
Yeah.
does that mean is your humanity definition of human? Does it mean people can do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it, however they want to do it?
To an extent, I think it works like that, but as long as it doesn't affect anybody. So, yeah, I'm not so. I don't think it's safe for me to say I'm very liberal, but I believe that people can do what they want to do as long as it doesn't affect. But once your actions or your inactions start affecting the next person, I think there's a need for conversation. So as much as if you start talking about gender or talking about sexuality, there's a lot of like a lot deeper than just black and white. It's also a very controversial topic that a lot of people are not comfortable talking about. Yeah, but we're in Africa, in Nigeria, precisely, and um, according to the law and according to a lot of things in Nigeria, we know what the law says, so we are definitely bounded by the law in Nigeria. I know that it's different in other places. Yeah. Personally, I'm not homophobic. I don't have a problem with people that are gay. I just feel that everybody should just live their lives one way or
One way or the other. All right, so let's come back to I won't say the crux, because there are different layers to this conversation. But as a digital marketer,
the other.
I like to unpack the stories of, because a lot of times, like we mentioned, we talked about before, people see the success of somebody and they assume that they came into that success. They think that, oh, for you to be this big, there you must have been, it just happened to you.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I was listening to a conversation sometime about how Joe Rogan became this number one podcaster in the world and how he started doing what he did. I
Yeah.
was listening to the stories of how guys like Neil Patel, one of the biggest digital marketers in the world, how they started. And listening to their stories gave me an idea of how a lot of the success stories we hear are not success stories because they just happened. They're success stories because of the things that happened to them prior to where they are now. for you as a person, what exactly is your story? How did you come to be this man who goes to the gym, this man who runs a business, this man who is a digital marketer? How did you evolve from Yusuf Ahmed, one wherever you have gone to becoming this person that you are?
Okay. So yesterday we had this I think it's Turkey's corner at the office. The conversation was mostly on of my first tech. So we talked about how much first amount you made in tech, and it made me go like way back to how a lot of um just just to put it out there. I just think like I have a long way to go about my I feel like I haven't started. I don't have this mindset that keeps arriving. So I look at myself and I look at where I want to go, and it's still a very, very long way to go. Like, so I have this note that I note on my wardrobe. And every morning I try as much as possible to just read what's there, where I see myself in 5 years. And um, where I see myself in 5 years time and where I'm currently am right now, there's still a lot of gap. Like, there's a lot of things that can be done. Can be done. So I still feel like there's a lot of things that needs to get better. Living so far, so I was born and brought up in Lagos. I was born in First Bank. I grew up in Surrey. I grew up in a very outside area. When I was quite young, I couldn't even speak English at some point. I think till I was 6 or 7, that's when I started learning. English. It was really outside. The irony is now I don't know how to speak. So
That's
that's like
funny.
that's a very funny thing now. So now I like I understand but I can't speak outside. So that's like very funny thing. And so growing up I grew up in a job where a lot of things happen here. Just the mainland side, it's not like the island where you see a lot of inspiration. So where I grew up in, they're just very, very, there are a lot of average individuals. And so that was me basically. I think as far back as I can remember, I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I wanted to like do a lot of good things in life, but for the longest of time, I wanted to be an engineer. So when I got into the university, secondary school, I discovered further maths, and that's when I knew that okay, the engineering thing was
You didn't like further math.
you know, I saw that it was maths. So because of my fear of mathematics, because now I'm learning to know that oh, it was actually a fear. If I like believed that I would, if I believed and put in the time, I would have gotten better at mathematics. But so I just accepted this belief. I know we'll talk about something like that, but I just accepted this belief that I suck at maths. So every other subject, when I was in secondary school, every other subject, I was very, very. So you could put me in like in front of the class for all the subjects, and I would like be very confident about my or what I would write. Or when it comes to mathematics and further maths, you do not see me in that particular place. I'll just find somewhere where my best friend then tried it. He was very, very good at maths, so I always find a way to like. But when I got into secondary school, I just knew that I couldn't continue that. So I went to university. I got admission into Benin Republic and studied computer science. It was much like what was this was like around 2011, 2010. Yeah, that was 2011. So and now so I was talking just to the conversation yesterday too. I was telling the techniques yesterday that when I was in school, now it's very, very normal for you to be in 200 level, 300 level, 100 level, see software developers that are these people guys that are all software developers. During our time it was not that common, like so that's like incident, it wasn't that common. Yeah. You have people that cook knew how to code, but it wasn't like a norm. Now it's if you go to some schools in the computer science department, you see that there are UX designers, there are software developers, there are like different skilled professionals in their 100 and 200 level. There are people that are journalists, people that are in the media space. But when I was in school, 2010, 2011, something like that. So I finished school, and I finished school and everything, and I go back home. It was when I got home and I started applying for jobs. That's when I knew that oh, problem. Like, I didn't have any valuable skill, and then so I had to like start learning and basically. So it took me finishing the university first before I knew that oh there was no skill after like 3 months of applying for jobs, there was not even any response. So I just made a decision that I was not going to apply for a job. I just started digital marketing. Basically. So that was like foundation that pushed me to learning more and then trying to get it. Just absorb.
You made mention of not wanting to get job after you submit applications for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing on your Twitter, one time where you talked about one time being a house agent, one time
Yeah.
selling bags and the selling bits and the series of entrepreneurial endeavors you had to go. But the person out there the young person or even an old person who probably has started a business and has maybe failed or are not doing as well as they think they should be doing. What's your journey with being a business person like? And I asked this question because I remember when I was in uni, I was I wanted to get a job, right? And I'm asking my uncle then, like, yo, what do I need to do? I think it was my 200 level. I was thinking of, I don't want to come out and not have a job. With me. Well, I didn't have a job a lot of time for it. He said to me, those things you used to do for your mother, put them in your CV. And we used to have conversations in uni then where we talk about the kind of jobs we want to get to. But we also had people who never at any point in their lives thought they wanted to do a job. I knew a friend then who was always looking for one thing to sell or the other. For you are a business person. How did the journey start? Some people say that business people are born to business people. Were you born to be a business person, or did you quote and unquote stumble on it as you progress through life?
Mm, I would say I stumbled on it. Mainly because I started, I think in my SS. I think in just SS. So, the first thing I did to earn money was like copy notes. So, so I started doing that in JSS to copy
How much was
notes.
it?
I think it was 50 or 100 naira per note.
Is it like per subjects?
Yeah, per subject, like
Like you
so
hold those for the whole
for the
term?
whole term. So
Wow, that's a lot of writing.
that's the right thing. So I think that helped also with. So when I started blogging, it actually helped too because I was very comfortable writing. Like so, sometimes it turns out to be a good day. Sometimes it turns out to be bad. Like
Sure.
biology was like crazy. Agriculture was crazy. So, but there's some subjects that probably just writing it to and then that's all. So that was like the first thing I did.